Welcome to the Hard Lessons podcast. I'm your host, Charlie, founder of an Oakville-based construction company. Each week, we dive into the world of business, personal development, and the entrepreneurial journey. We'll be talking with successful business owners who've been in the trenches and learned those hard lessons. Whether you're just starting out or looking to take business to the next level, you're in the right place. Join us as we turn hard lessons into stepping stones for success. Welcome to the Hard Lessons podcast. Today we have Joe Apps on, coming from cyber tech. You've built an amazing business at a super young age. It's unreal, the empire that you built, and can't wait to hop into a lot of the business things along with what you do in your specific industry. So welcome to the show. Can't wait.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on and share some lessons with people that I've had to get me to where I am today in my journey.
I love it. Yeah, that's the goal, right? Getting the listeners the lesson without the scar. So let's start with where you're starting out, Joe. Like what, where do you start? Where do you come from? And what the hell do you do? We'll go from there.
Yeah, no, start and what the hell I do. Those are the fun ones, right? So started here from a young age. I'm a Burlington boy, Burlington, Ontario, born and raised here. I went to went to M.M. Robinson High School, then Mohawk College. So always kind of been local to the territory and learning and school and community and everything like that. And really just driven by helping people through technology. So I really just love helping people with technology, helping them do that. And that really inspired me to start a few businesses, with my main one being Joe Apps Technology Support. And what we do is we help businesses through IT, cybersecurity, help desk support, and making sure that we're really their back end for technology so that they can focus on their business and we focus on their technology. Because as you know, like any industry now needs technology in their business, right? You used to be able to get away with that pen and paper and all that fun stuff years and years ago. But as you know, as being a young business owner too, you're running a big team, you're growing rapidly, you need systems. Like, I don't know, I believe you use Jobber or those kind of systems and things to keep you organized and in check, right? So it's crucial to have kind of those, have a team behind you to sort those out, make sure that you have cybersecurity and make sure that you're using your technology properly. And that's what we help businesses with.
I love it. Awesome. Now, getting into that, why, was that more of a passion of yours at first, or like why tech? Where the hell that come from? Because it's such a niche what you guys do. Like just talking to you, and it's been a while. It'll be good to catch up, but it's such a niche of what you do, helping businesses stay safe and having all their info protected. How do you stumble upon it?
Yeah, and how we found it, it's just through a series of things. So as a kid, like I've always loved entrepreneurship, and sorry, kind of guess that's touching back on the first question as well. But I had a candy store as a kid, so I was doing that as a kid. I had a skate store in high school as well, and then I kind of progressed into cell phones and electronics in college. So we had a store in downtown Hamilton at that time. Now, during that time, as I had a store downtown Hamilton, I was working with a friend, so it was a partner business, and some things we saw eye to eye on, some things we didn't. So we decided to split ways. And as I was doing that, I had a girlfriend at the time, and her mom was an accountant. And she asked me to manage her server, manage her small business. And that's just really when I kind of fell in love with IT management and everything that comes with it there. So it was really falling into it through a series of entrepreneurial journeys and then kind of falling into my big one, which is job technology support. That comes through a bunch of twists and pivots, right? With COVID, so we saw a big twist for cybersecurity. I remember going to talk to business about cybersecurity and they thought I was crazy. They're like, these invisible hackers trying to get me. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? There's no invisible villains. Nobody cares
Until
enough
it happens,
about
right?
my business until it happens, right? And then your information's leaked, or your client information's leaked, or stuff that you don't want's available on the dark web or some other kind of point of system, right? Or AI is taking your information, right? So it seems to be the big topic right now. So I really, in a sense, stumbled upon this, but was through hard lessons and pivots that I was actually able to get to where I am today, right? And that was learning about partnership businesses. That was learning about business young as a kid and working with friends, working on selling and those kind of skills that come with it, and always refining my craft, my trade. So I got better and better each time.
I love it. That's awesome. Now, before we move on from the partnership comment, if you don't mind touching on that, like what are a few things you're able to take away from that? And that's always interesting hearing people's experiences. And I know it always goes, different ways, but I think it always comes out positively with a good lesson. What are a few that you can highlight?
100%. And if it didn't come out positively, you definitely haven't learned your lesson yet. So I think the biggest thing to highlight is find a partner that elevates you, right? Like we were definitely not in that kind of right mindset for who was going to take responsibility. We didn't have it laid out properly. There was no expectations set. So what my expectations were, my partner's expectations were different because we never communicated them, right? So it taught me communication. It taught me about partnership. It taught me a lot about agreements. Legal agreements are very key to have in place to make sure that those are taken care of properly. And it just taught me about caring for other people, right? Like sitting down and making that time. You don't always have to be in the business. You need to work on the business as well, because that's when you really see those higher ideas. You have those same page meetings and you really connect with people properly to realize, okay, this is what their role is. This is what my role is, and work with their superpowers properly. And that's just something I didn't know back then. So in a partnership, I think the best things are find someone that elevates you if you're going to be in a partnership level. And that's what I'd look for now. Over the last few years, it didn't make sense if I was going to take a partnership. But as you move that business, that 5, 10, 15, $25 million mark, it gets harder and harder to get there alone, right? So you look for partners again, and you look how you're going to move that needle and how you can kind of get to that next level.
So getting to that next level, to recap that for the listener, finding the partner that can complement you and shine where your weaknesses are. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that I've found in a partnership. Just don't go in blindly, you know what I mean? And sometimes I see people just going for the money or things like that. You need to make sure your partner aligns with your values and really have a set of core values for not only your business, but yourself as well. And really review those both and make sure that your partner and the business aligns with that, or else, it's really not going to work out. You're not going to be happy doing it. I can guarantee that.
So from back then, when to young Joe Apps to now, how have you taken those lessons and what you just mentioned into your hiring processes and having all your paperwork and HR stuff lined up? We all know that's always a blast with your current organization, and I'm sure the same. The same things are applicable of finding people that complement with each other. And it's like a coach of a sports team, or it's like playing chess, right? You're moving your chips around. What'll work best, people, what types of people, what types of emotions, or etc., right? So how have you taken that into your organization?
Yeah, I really threw a bunch of series of lessons, but how I've really compacted it all is through a system called EOS. And that's found what I found works best for our business. And what EOS is, it's the entrepreneurial operating system. And it's a bunch of tools that we use. So to kind of combat your questions is accountability. We have an accountability chart, and we're putting the right people in the right seat now. This allows us to create a people analyzer to make sure that they align with our core values. So we go through each core value every time that we look at each person that comes in. We make sure they align with those all core values. We align them with their job description and make sure they have what we call the GWC. So get it, want it, and capacity to do it, because that's really going to align them for the most success that they have. With that, we have a really refined training program now through people coming in and out of the organization, feedback, interviews, exit interviews, and always being open to criticism and advice from our team. We've really made sure we've refined that process. So how I've done it from the partnership level is I've really installed systems now, systematic and process, and making everything as easy as possible is the biggest thing that you can do to be successful in a business. And starting it early is better. I always thought, oh, I'm by myself. I don't need processes. It's just me. I wish I had documented and put them all now, because it's making it easier in the long run. Although you can always catch up, right? And that's what we've been able to do. We put these great systems in place that's really built our employees into, our team members into what they need to be today. And that's just members that are delivering world-class service and support to our clients.
I love it. That's awesome. So that's on the value board, eh? World-class service, I assume.
Yeah, that's one of our 3 uniques for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. So your onboarding process, from when you meet the candidate, you're kind of talking, how in depth does that go? How does that work from when they get hired, right? I know everyone does it completely different. I'd be curious how you're structured.
Yeah, it used to be quick and kind of, dirty, I might call it, might be the best thing. And it was, here's an interview, the person's in, here's the money, let's go. You know what I mean? Let's get on, here's the contract, there you go, you're working kind of thing. We've really refined that process now. So what we do is we do We send out those. So we look for the role that we're going to hire in the business, right? So we sit down with the leadership team, really look for the role that we need in the seat that we're going to fill in that accountability chart. We make a persona around that seat that we're going to fill. Once we have that persona, we put out a job interview on Indeed so that people can see the ad, the job postings out there, and people are able to apply to the job posting. Once they apply and we go through the resumes, we have someone go through all the resumes. And then what we do is we send what we call the A player questionnaire, or the jobs core values questionnaire. And what that really does is narrow down who's really, in it to win it kind of thing, right? Who's going to take that extra time to go through, fill out this 21-page questionnaire so we can really learn more about them. Once we have the resume and the questionnaire, we combine them together, sit down with the leadership team, go through all the resumes. Then we give them a call. Once we have the call, if they pass the call and then the questionnaire that they go through, they come down, they'll sit with us in the operations team and just make sure they're a right fit in person. Once we've done that, we go through our people analyzer that I talked about earlier, and we compare all the resumes and we find the right person for that right seat there. So usually we have about 500 resumes come through because it is a tech position, right? It's very kind of high apply rate, a lot of people going for the job. From those 50, we have about, 500. From those 500, we have about 50 that fill out the questionnaire. We get about 20 with phone calls, and that narrows it down to about 10 or so that come in. And then we always find one or two through there. So we're hiring about every 3 to 6 months at this point in time. So we've had to create a systemized process for it. We found this really narrows it down, works, and find those A players that work with Joe Apps, right? Because every organization's different. We're very a high stress service business, right? We deal with computers, cybersecurity, everything like that. You're not stoked as your computer's being attacked. Like, hey, Joe, I'm having a great day. All my money's being drained out of my bank account. You know what I mean? You're worried, you're scared, you don't know what to do. So we have to talk you through that, right? Like anybody in a case of an emergency would be doing.
Awesome. So to recap that, and correct me where I'm missing out, but Indeed probably spending a lot of money, right, to get all these candidates.
Yeah, exactly. You have to find good people lately.
So Indeed, once it's clear with the management team or executive team that what we're actually looking for, what we're hunting down, you get your job post, a questionnaire. I love that. 21 pages.
Sorry, 21 questions, not pages, not pages. My apologies. 21
Okay.
questions. Yeah, a little easier on them than that.
Okay, good. I love it though, raising the standard, right? And then a phone call, and finally they get to meet with you guys in person to see if it's a good fit. So that's awesome. Now I've heard I've asked this question a few times, and personality codes have came up. Have you ever given thought to that, or have any thoughts towards it? Like, I just found it interesting with, sure, we can have this role and like these are the tasks these people need to do, but who are the people that they're working with, and what types of personalities are they going to have to be with and work with? Have you ever given that thought? I haven't much, and I'm curious where your head's at.
Oh, 100%. We pay attention to all those kind of Clifton strengths, human jung matrix, and all of that. We don't do that on the interview process, though. I have to admit, we do that when people come into their organization. Their first day spent on personality tests and everything like that. So they do a disc profile with us, they do Clifton strengths, and they do a human jung test. So I'm an ENFP over here myself, so I do that. And then my Clifton strengths, I'm a woo activator, ideation, futuristic, and communication. So I'm cheated over here, and that's why I'm looking to the side, because I have mine saved on my notepad at all times just to see it. But all of our team members have a profile, and you're able to access it at any time in our wiki that we have for the organization. So you're able to see everyone's strengths and work with them there. So yes, it might be, more powerful doing it in the interview process and getting it as they come in through there, but we work on it after the interview process when they're in with the team. And then as they're in that seat that we have for them, we work with their personality to really make that work as well. So we do look kind of a little into the disc profiles as we're talking to the person, but we don't make them fill out a test until they're with the organization.
Fair enough. And yeah, it's about investment and investing in the right people. And now I wonder how you guys handle it, of like how fast you are to make the decision of it's not a right fit, or you guys go in, all in and fully bet on this person. Like, something I heard the other day is like, I don't want to invest in them. Like, what if they leave, whatever. But what if they stay and you don't invest in them, right? Then what? That's even worse. And
100%.
I'd be curious your thoughts.
Yeah, we love to tool up our employees to make sure that they have everything they need if they're going to be a team member at Joe Apps, one way or the other. You know what I mean? Whether you're 30 days in, whether you're 2 to 3 years in, we treat your training path as the same. So as you come through our onboarding process, we create you your training path. Your first training path starts with kind of our 90-day toolkit, and what you are is accountable for your first 90 days. So you're giving your training path, you book it in your schedule. And outside of that, we'll book you jobs and all of that kind of stuff because we get it's boring to sit there and watch videos for 4 weeks and all of that kind of stuff. So we kind of find that balance for people as well and everything like that. So making sure that they have the training path and they have all that there. And then after their 90 days, what we do is we meet one-to-one and do quarterly reviews with our team. And we design what they want to do from there, whether that's, Azure, Microsoft Cloud, any kind of technology that they want to learn, whether they want to go for training. We help pay for training and everything like that. So we're always looking to invest in our employees, especially with technology. We're in such a rapidly moving industry that if we don't invest in people in our leadership team, we're going to fail, right? We're going to be behind. So we always have to keep learning. And if I'm going to expect myself to keep learning and expect my team to keep learning, we got to stay ahead and we have to stay in seminars, all day events. I'm just making sure we can be the best possible people we can be. Because my belief is when you stop learning, you start dying.
I love that. That's awesome. Um, good. So yeah, always investing it. It never ends growing the people, and the people grow the business.
No, and it's
Um,
so worth it to get the turn, like to get what you can from the people. And we always believe at Joe Apps, if you're either with us or you're growing outside of us, we've done the right thing, right? We're really in the business of growing people as much as we are as growing technology.
that's awesome. Shit, what was I just gonna say?
Sorry, threw you off there. My apologies.
Oh, world class. Like the bar is raised, or it's lowered so much, and like, um, even I caught myself the other week, like just looking around and seeing like, oh, where are these guys at, or what are they doing? Like, it doesn't matter if we know where we're trying to go and where the bar needs to be, and it doesn't matter what other people are doing. I'm sure competitors of yours aren't going as in depth with this training and this investing into the team and growing the people. And regardless if they leave, as long as they grow as a person and take it to their next spot, like that's what gets me out of bed every morning is the guys getting better personally. And if they stay, great. If not, then no problem. So in terms of EOS, you mind touching on that a little bit more on what exactly that is and how it connects with the KPIs that you're putting in place for these new hires?
Yeah, EOS, it's the entrepreneurial operating system. For us, it's been a great operating system for the business. And there's many different kinds you can use. People can do their own. It's really what you want to do, but it helps us organize the business because in EOS, they have a scorecard, right? And that gives us what we call as a scorecard is the KPIs for the business, right? So we have one for operation, one for accounting, one for leadership, so that we're able to go in and make sure we can track those 7 to 15 proper metrics per department, which are really getting us to where we want to be through trailing numbers, right? So whether that's amount of tickets closed, whether that's a first time resolution, whether that's successful resolution rate, whether that's how our client satisfaction score is, anything like that, we're able to see those numbers and we're able to see them go up and down. We're able to see how many technicians we have versus how we're able to service people. What that really gets is our quality of service, our level of service, and how we take care of people, and then our sales and all of that kind of stuff. Do we have enough people in the pipeline to grow? When are we hiring? How does that look? We can make data-driven decisions instead of heart-based decisions. For so long in the entrepreneurship journey, I was just like, oh, this feels right, or oh, the bank account looks nice, you know what I mean? And making those decisions off that. Oh, we have this extra money, maybe we should hire people now. Not like, oh, we just took on 50 new clients. We need to make sure we have this, right? So really kind of turning to those data-driven KPI points, EOS has helped us to do by really ripping apart our business and looking at it from the top down, right? Like, how does your chart of accounts look in accounting? How does your administration KPI points look like? How does your sales pipeline look like? What's the flow in it, right? Where's your drop rate? What's your open closure percent? All of these things is when I got into the business, I just loved to do technology and help people, right? Go around to people's businesses, take apart their computer, put on the viruses, put it to my system, make sure they were updated. So it's a far way from making sure there's accountable KPIs and stuff like that. EOS has been a great educational tool that's taught us really how to shape this business into the monster that we want it to be, right? And that's helping 5,000 innovative businesses with technology, which is a big goal over the next 10 years. But I know that with the team that we have in EOS and the accountability that we have in place, we're going to be able to smash that goal because we'll have the right people leading the charge to get there that believe in this bigger vision that's now so much bigger than myself going to help people fixing computers every single day.
Wow. And love how you tapped on like having the systems in the business, how it's a completely different skill than why most of us get into the business. That's we're the technician, we're hands-on. That's kind of why we started it. But regardless, $100 million plumbing company is going to be the same as a landscape company at $100 million, the same as, a tech company or whatever it is. You've got your C-level executives and that's it. So reporting and running these numbers, what you're doing is irrelevant. You need to be numbers driven and take the emotions completely out of it. I love how you touched on that. Now, in terms of the KPIs, when you're bringing in these new people, like when is that laid out for them? When is that like this is what we're working towards and what we're going to start measuring religiously when they start like the 90-day training, or is that the sit down kind of after that training process? Like where do
No,
you
you're in
throw
on
that
it
in?
right away kind of thing. So in the sense of we'll keep you out of the metric scoreboard for the first 30 days, but you see it as soon as you begin. So we have an all team meeting every Friday morning. You see the scorecard, you see the metrics. The scorecard, the metrics are all linked to the business in total, but individually they have their own personal scorecards that would link to those operation metrics. So for instance, you should be closing this many tickets or this so that you're at an A player in the team or a B player, right? And you wouldn't get to a C player because we want to eliminate those before we get there, right? So what they're able to see is those metrics right away. They're able to see when they're tracking as soon as they join our ticket flow, which is about 14 days after they join the flow. Then they're tracked in the metrics and can view their own scoreboard at that point in time. So we get them on right away because they're diving right into the business and the fire, because that's the best way that you learn in technology. We can sit you in front of videos for hours and hours and hours, but once you're on the phone with our clients using our systems, getting the process and really refining it each time you go, that's when you're going to learn. And we're going to make mistakes, unfortunately, right? Like I used to be so scared to get new people on the phone or like have new people in the business and stuff like that, because I'm like, what if they do this, or what if my client leaves, or what if, you know what I mean? Living in this what if world that was so stressful because it's like anything could happen. I can't take vacation because what if this happens, right? But I started to believe, what if it didn't? Like, what if it doesn't? You know what I mean? What if everything goes right, right? And that's when you really start to visualize and it comes to life, right? Because when I lived in the what went wrong world, guess what happened? Everything went wrong, right? When I lived in the what if everything went right world, everything started to go right. And that was just having those A players in there and really trusting the team. And I find trusting your team and really giving them the tools that they need to succeed extremely elevates the business, right? Because if you go what if and micromanage that, that's when it starts to fall, because you're really the glue that's holding it all together. You're not letting it flow as it needs to be.
So throwing them into the fires, right into the deep end and learning. Like I know myself, I can listen to all these courses or watch these videos, but it goes straight over me, straight through my head until I'm actually hands on doing them and having to figure it out. Now, you mentioned the fires for the team, but for yourself, like that's something a lot of entrepreneurs at a smaller scale struggle with. And once it's figured out, you know, they start to see the needle move quite a bit. But being able to step back and letting those fires burn and being able to make those decisions working on the business, not being caught up in the day to day in the business. How was that first step for yourself? And like, when did that click for you? Because clearly you haven't figured out, but I'm curious when.
I don't have it figured out all the way. It's still so difficult to do, you know what I mean? Is to separate it and do, but it really helped when we decided on a leadership team, right? And really establish those people in their roles. So we took on EOS about 18 months ago now. So it was about 12 months ago as we kind of figured out that leadership team, figured out those leadership roles, that I was really able to establish those core people that were taking care of the core functions of the business, that allowed me to relinquish more and more control, give it to them. They empowered the people under them. And then it was just kind of this really big growing effect that allowed me to then focus on my Tech Canada groups that I have, which is peer accountability groups, because that's also one of the most powerful things that you can have as well as a business system, is a set of peer accountability people that can take care of you, make sure that you're in check. You know what I mean? As business owners, it can be a lonely world, right? Like I've got a ton of friends, but they go 9 to 5. They love their work from that. They get home to their kids. They do that kind of stuff. It's different than what I do, right? So I need some people that are in this crazy mindset that love to work 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. at night or 12 a.m. at night, you know what I mean? Or those kind of things, right? That don't like to stop or don't like to quit and like to hold me accountable to what I need to do because they're the people that are going to understand it, right? So having those peer accountability people by me as well are so crucial to my growth in the business because it allows me to grow as a CEO. They hold me accountable. They put me out of my comfort zone. And as soon as I go out of my comfort zone, that's when I'm always finding my biggest growth. When I'm jumping into things I don't like to do, whether that's right now I'm training for a 10K run. So that's getting my butt up and running every single day or whatever that might be. As I know you like to run too, or you didn't at first. I was reading your post that you had that one point in time and you got into it around the summer or so, right? So,
Every
it's
weekend.
difficult to, yeah, exactly, man. And it's hard, right, to get your butt out there and do that. But how good do you feel after, right? Like it's crazy that giving energy gets you energy back so well.
100%. And like it's all back to being world class. Like what are we going to do to be able to run as a machine properly? And it's down to every little thing of not being on your phone until a certain amount of time, because I don't know, for me it gets me blurry, and having your coffee at the exact right time every day, and like all this micro shit, and having my meal so I'm able to think, and like just it goes, you can go so deep with it, but that's what's required if you're really here to be the best. And being able to surround people or surround yourself with people like that and who think like that is so powerful. And I love how you mentioned the peer groups, that or accountability groups, whatever you call them there, because it's a gladiator sport, right? It's not for everyone. And it's people have to be a little bit messed up in the head to love this shit. But
100% you do. If you're not, I don't know what you're doing. That's for sure. Every entrepreneur I've met has something a little bit crazy about them.
a few screws loose, yes. Yeah, but it's like it's building the team and the network around that makes it feel not lonely. And it's going to be lonely at times, but it's part of the fun. You touched on meetings. You have Friday meetings, and like I hate meetings of just the waste of time, of like people just going back and forth, sharing there's a lot of emotions in meetings, I feel. And like what you feel, not what the actual facts and numbers are. And I feel like as a leader, you need to be very, very good at like managing the meeting, running the meeting, keeping it on task and on time. And also limiting the amount of meetings. Like you can probably have a brunch club every morning and have a great employee environment, but not get anything done, like how do you guys balance with what's needed, but also not taken away from the work time?
Structure, that level 10 meeting structure that we get from EOS, right? Our meetings are really devised every week, same time, same place, on time. They start on time, they end on time, they have the same agenda, they follow the same format. Everyone comes in, they share one piece of good news, personal and business. Then we segue into headlines that people put in for the business this week, any cascading messages from the leadership team to really improve that clear communication and make sure people know what's happening inside of the business. From there, we go to the scorecard. We talk about real numbers, take the emotions out of it, right? If the number is red, what the heck did you mess up on, right? What did you do wrong? Like numbers don't lie, like you said. Like, you can cry all you want that number is not there. You didn't hit the agreed upon number. That's your accountability, right? Then after that, we go and we review our core values every week. We review our core focus. We review the issues getting in the way, everything like that. And then we spend time on our issues. We spend half an hours on our issues list each week, and everybody has access to the portal each week. They can go in, they can put their issues in, and we talk about it. So we talk about the issue, the person that's presenting the issue, they talk about it. We get to the root cause of that issue through discussion, and then we put out a solve and a to-do for it. We get it solved and we move on from that emotional part, right? So our meetings really have structure and purpose on each one, and they're having the same thing done each week. So people know what to expect, they know what to do, there's no time wasted, and it builds those company values and core values and culture as well. So that's what I've found to be the most powerful, because I was like you, I hated meetings. We were just doing them for fun. We do them for half an hour, Everyone was just talking. There was no purpose or anything like that. Since we put these level 10 meetings in, we've had people leave the organization because they like to just screw around before, right? But now the people that are there are accountable to these meetings, and that's what I love, right? Is it gets the unaccountable people out when you start bringing accountability into the business.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. We need to take a page out of your book and start implementing some of that. The level 10 meetings. I love the structure, and it's important. Like, time is of the essence. So,
I got a gift for
um,
you then. I got a book called Traction from EOS. So next time I see you, next chamber event you're at, I'll bring a copy in the back of my car for you.
you're writing it down. Traction from EOS. Said.
Yeah, Traction by Gino Wickman. Best book you'll read, that's for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's talk marketing.
Marketing, love it.
I'm curious. So, like, all this money goes out to marketing, and we talk numbers, and it's important tracking things. But marketing, I find a lot of it can get lost. And I'm curious, your marketing efforts. Like, how do you keep a pulse on that with the amount you guys are doing? And the preface for the listener, like, Joe Apps is all over the GTA at every single event. His name's on every banner. Like, you guys are nuts. You take it to another level. Tracking it, where do you start?
Yeah, that's the difficult part in marketing, right? Is how do you track those dollars? Where do they go and everything like that, right? And, for us, it's really just looking at the client lifetime value that we have. We have a huge client lifetime value compared to other organizations. People stay with their IT people, right? And this makes the challenge of marketing too, and why mergers and acquisitions are so big in our industry, and something that we've looked to move into in the last little bit, right? Which has really made the company more powerful and able to grow faster and rapidly, which has allowed us to kind of contribute and give back to the community. What our kind of, I guess, secret sauce really is in the marketing is we love to do those $500 to $1,000 sponsorship points. Gets us in there, gets your name on the board, gets you seen, and gets you that recognition. And then you can use them in a bunch of places, right? A lot of people do those title sponsors and stuff like that, which is amazing to bring an event to life. But where I took it from, and it kind of sounds silly, but is Logan Paul's Prime and what they're doing with that kind of brand, right? Is they were doing a bunch of kind of low value sponsorships all over, working with lower creators, stuff like that, lower network people and everything, so that they were really able to make a splash through that, right? So they were seen in more places. That's why, Coke and Pepsi are sponsoring places all the time and all over and everything. They're doing those sponsorships that get them in more places than kind of the select few, right? Which really just gets your brand seen and elevated. In technology, like, we have to wait till the technology person messes up, right? Because it's either your brother, sister, someone's uncle, someone's cousin. There's a tight bond there when they're your technology person. There's something there that you don't want to give up, and it's whether they screw up completely, they mess up, or you've been hacked, or you outgrow them, is when you're looking for a new technology person. So we want to be your top of mind, right? It's not like some industries is very lucky with, like, the HVAC, let's say. When your HVAC breaks, you look through the list for people. You're not usually remembering the last person there. You know what I mean? So you want to get them on those reoccurring contracts, like I know you do with the landscape maintenance, because then they're not getting their lawn cut once and then they don't remember you, right? You're coming back month to month to month, right? So we want to be that reoccurring person for people. So we do that through marketing. We do that through putting our name all over lots of events. And we do that through having our team at all the kind of events and just repeating our core values, our mission, and keeping it the same kind of all throughout, so that we can create that jobs experience for people, whether they go to our website, whether they interact with us in person, whether it's, on podcasts like this, they know what they're going to get for us. And that's that world-class service and support, and us treating their business as their own and just delivering that value to them.
Awesome. Awesome. And now, like, a lot of events, and I like how you said slightly smaller, but absolutely everywhere. How about like Google and Facebook stuff? Are you guys much on that, or is the goal, like you mentioned, more just to be everywhere for when shit hits the fan and be top of mind?
Yeah, no, we haven't gone down the Google and Facebook path as much as I want to, and that might be the new year goal at this point in time. I just haven't had the time that I want. So we've found lots of success personally for our business in the chamber world and stuff like that. But that was also when we had a refined and different kind of marketing strategy too, when we were doing all this, right? We were treating everybody as our client. We thought we could help every business. We've realized now that we can't help every single business. What we can help is businesses with 5 to 100 users in it, which really are looking to invest in technology. They're risk adverse and they really care about what they want to do. So what that means is they really care about their industry. They share the same core values they have. They're looking to proceed ahead. They're looking to adapt with technology. They're looking to make changes. They're not stuck in their ways. And what that allows us to do is grow with grow-minded businesses. So what we can do is they add a person, we add a contract, et cetera, et cetera. We grow, they grow. We get to go with each other. We get to look into new systems. We get to expand with cloud services with them. We have an amazing technical team that can tackle all kinds of issues. So we're just really able to take these businesses to the next level and be that IT team. So we don't work with the 1 to 2 user businesses as much anymore because we have a service desk where there's so many people on it that you might not get the same person each time, which that's really frustrating. But if you're in a 10, 15, 25, 50 person business, you don't care. You just want your issue fixed. What the technicians are able to do because you have common softwares, common things, common processes, practices, everything like that put in place, right? So that's the businesses we like to work with. So our marketing strategy changes over the years too, as we look to refine and really figure out what we do well. Sometimes when you get into business and you take anything, right? Like I remember we were used to do camera systems and alarm systems and all this stuff like that I wouldn't touch with the 10-foot pole. Now sound systems and everything, like that's not our superpower.
Finding your niche and really drilling that home. It's so important to all business owners to understand. Like I was once there as well, until it finally, my eyes got open to it. But you
Yeah.
talk about being world class and then guys are doing 10 different services and expecting their guys to be good and world class at 10 different things. Like shit with contractors, like I'm a plumber, I'll do your Christmas lights, I'll also do your landscaping and install your pool, right? Like, so like when did that switch flip? Like what was the slap in the face that was like, oh shit, we really gotta, put our heads down to this one thing that we're already super good at and our margins are where they need to be?
As you expand and grow, I think that's what you really realize, that you have to systemize and you have to process and you can't do it all, right? That's what makes it really hard. Like as you get more and more people, you can't dive into all these kind of mystery things with the unknowns and things that are going to pop up and, the uncontrollables, right? You really need your controllables. And as long as you have your controllables, they're through processes. So what we started to call it was the t-shirt problem. And why we called the t-shirt problem is because if this client was wearing a red shirt on this day, you had to perform this way for his services. But if you had a blue shirt on Tuesday, you had to perform that. Like it doesn't work that way, right? So the client always wears a red shirt now on every single day of the week, and you follow that process. You don't have to worry that the client's going to have a blue shirt or a green shirt a different day. You just have to worry that if you follow this process, you're going to go into the right place. And that just came through standardization, systemization, working with clients that cared to do that, right? Like, because if you work with clients that just care to download, the random free thing online and start this new line of business, and like it gets very, very difficult, right? You want clients that have the same values and that's their process in place, their systems in place, an understanding of their business, their margins, their KPIs and stuff like that. I can work so well with businesses like that. If you're just kind of, grabbing the air from all over the place, it makes it very, very difficult to work with because one week when you're in that green shirt, we're doing it this way. But when you switch to the red shirt, well, we need to be that way. And that's why we actually lose a lot more business than we take in most of the time because we're wearing that red shirt, right? We can't adapt or we're not willing to it. We're not willing to adapt to these other systems and stuff because we know the systems that we have in place and what we're going to use for you is going to work well, right? So that's our big thing is not teetering. We used to say, oh, yes, we'll adapt to that. We'll do this. We'll put this in. So that when, an email came in or this problem came in that we would solve the same way every time. It was now different because this client did it a different way. We've eliminated a lot of that. Don't have those issues anymore. So we've created the standardized system, a standardized set of clients, and a standardized set of people that really work with all these issues that's just really started to create a bunch of success in our business, right? So, it's hard at first saying no to people or saying no to clients, right? Like it was awesome to have a huge win rate because we were taking everything in. But how's that a win rate if you're starting to get complaints and your KPIs and those things fall off, right? Like that's the huge point that you have to look at. What point is the winning, right? Is it taking the money or delivering the service. To me, it's always delivering the service. The money will always come with it. You just deliver the service properly, everything else will work itself out.
Very well said. Very well said. And we're such optimists. It's hard for us to say no at first, but going back to taking the emotions out of it, of like, sure, you're emotionally attached to probably your first client that you did the 10 different things to, but it doesn't matter. It's business, and you're here to provide the best service possible. And it's not possible if you're doing these 10 different things. And also probably thinking of your 10-year plan of what are we trying to do? What are we trying to sell? And where are we trying to get long term, right? It's not scalable if you're doing, a million different things.
Not at all. We
Talk-
can't help 5,000 innovative businesses if we're stuck on one business consistently because we're draining all of our time into it, right?
I'm curious, how many employees do you have?
We have 13 right now. So we're at 13 right
13.
now. We kind of float around that number, but
Wow.
we are looking to expand with another business over the next 3 months. So that'll bring us up to around 15 to 17 people. So somewhere in that range, depending on, how much can we cut with this business and stuff like that, depending on the numbers and if their people fit with our culture. You know what I mean? That's always going to be the biggest thing.
And is that local, or is that, I know you mentioned something out west a bit ago.
No, this one's local. So this will be local
Right.
here. We do have a satellite office in Vancouver to appease our clients that we have out there that are attached to the Toronto area as well, because those are such big business hubs in Canada, right?
Okay, back on track. We're talking about saying no, and I think that's like I'd like to drill that home a little bit more, like personally and within your business, like day to day, of like you can get dragged in a million different directions, just putting out fires or just running around, etc. Like, how do you say no and guard your time so you're able to make the 30,000 feet decision from the 30,000 feet view, not the business decision in the burning house, right? Like, how do you really separate yourself from the day-to-day shit that goes on?
Yeah, and that's the hardest part, and still a journey that I'm learning, right? So I got a couple of things that help with that. I got a little door sign that I put to certain things, right? In a meeting, on a call, do not disturb, office hours, that kind of stuff. So the door sign helps a lot with that. I also do set office hours as well, because when you're in the office and your door's open, it's hard for people not to come in and bug you, especially when you're going to put out the fire, right? But having that door sign there does stop people. They take a second look, keep my head down, continue to work. The other thing that I do is I set office hours. So every day I have from 11:30 to 12 office hours. We're halfway through the day, can sort all those issues. Usually issues can roll 24 hours that might need me or might need me to interfere. So, it's a good point in time to meet every day. People know I am always available on Teams as well, and they can post their issues in our general Teams chat, and either I can answer or one of our team members can. And then most importantly is our leadership team. Like, they do a fantastic job of taking care of all the issues and sheltering me in a sense from all that kind of stuff, right? So when I say shelter is they make sure that I don't need to see things that are coming in or things that I don't need to see, right? They give me the important details. I don't need to see every little thing, right? Because it's going to affect me. Like, my name's on the business, Joe Apps, right? So if everybody's upset at the business, obviously that's going to upset me, right? I need to know the big people that are upset, right? Those big complaints, those big level complaints where there's an operational process or something like that, not the complaints because, like, someone's had a bad day or stuff like that, which happen all the time, right? Because you have a bad day, your technology breaks. It's really easy to be mad at the technology person, right? Versus, that bad day or something that's happened in your life, right? So creating that balance has been so crucial, and saying no is such a hard one for me. I'm learning from that too. Like, I've really just tried to separate it through many other things too, like for our donations and sponsorships and stuff. We now have a form on our website instead of people getting directly to me. I now have an executive assistant that gets between it. Just we kind of look at it. We now take all the donation, sponsorship, and all those decisions to the leadership team instead of just me and stuff like that, and make sure it aligns with our core values and our pillars. So trying to stop saying yes to everything and stop saying yes to everything and start saying no to things that just don't align with what we do or our core values or don't make sense in the time, or budgeting, right? We've gotten big into budgets over the last few years. So is it in our budget, and can we afford it as well? Because it's an easy way to say no is, hey, it's not in our budget.
You touched on letting the fires burn. That's awesome. Letting the fires burn with having the door signs. That's actually an amazing idea. But like, how are your people going to learn and be able to problem solve and eventually get independent without being able to be a firefighter sometimes, right? And letting them just figure the shit out that happens every day. So that's yeah, that's awesome, Joe. Yeah. Anything else? What before we wrap this up? Any other final thoughts?
No, man, just I hope someone can learn some kind of lesson from here so they don't have to bang their head as often as I did. You know what I mean? Like, it can be a hard world out there, so make sure you find a good group, make sure you find accountability, put a system in your business, learn from a coach, and never stop learning, and then you're gonna get there, right? It's hard out there, but it's the hard people that make it work. So that's all I got today, man. Thanks for having me on. Super excited to be here, and yeah.
Yeah, amazing chat, Joe. And I would like what you just mentioned there of it's going to be really really fucking hard. And I like to what I've came to sense is the last bit, especially this year, is like we are like this is the time, like these are the good old days, right? And like we look back like when we were younger, like, oh, it was so nice then, or it was great, and like we're going to say the same thing about right now and all the shit that's happening in a few years. We're never going to be younger than what we are. And being able to just smile when shit is absolutely blowing up in our face, being able to enjoy it and like, fuck yeah, like I'm going to probably get a lesson from this and it's going to be great. And part of those lessons is you can't ever pay to get them, right? Like there's no course that's going to teach you the stuff that goes on and playing the sport. So it's always great talking with like-minded people and surrounding yourself is so important with the best. Joe, where can people find you if they have questions or want to check out what you guys do, your services, if they want to chat with you? I know you're everywhere, but fill them in.
Yeah, we're all over. Find our socials at Job Support. We're here to support. We share lots of blogs, lots of news articles, things like that to keep you educated. Education's the best thing that you can do when it comes to technology and cybersecurity and keeping yourself safe.
I love it. Listen, thanks again. We'll wrap this up here.
Charlie, thank you.